Many people regard you as a personification of Ubuntu. What do you understand Ubuntu to be?
In the old days when we were young, a traveler through a country would stop at a village and he didn't have to ask for food or for water. Once he stops, the people give him food, entertain him. That is one aspect of Ubuntu, but it will have various aspects. Ubuntu does not mean that people should not enrich themselves. The question, therefore, is, are you going to do so in order to enable the community around you to be able to improve? These are the important things in life. And if one can do that, you have done something very important which will be appreciated.
From WBRN Radio in Boston and on the Boston Red Network, this is the Open Source Report on the 2nd of August, 2017. We finally have one out, and it is timely. Now, the Open Source Report covers open source technology, but at the same time, we tend to intercede with political activities. The subtitle for this particular report is VPNs, that's virtual private networks, and privacy. Privacy is a very important situation. This particular episode motivated by recent moves by the Russian Federation on this President V.I. Putin. And, of course, in China with mobile apps. We'll talk about exactly what is going on here. We'll outline in a sort of a shorthand way how to build a Linux open VS VPN server. And also you can build a VPN through your router, and the ASUS router is the one that covers OpenVPN. We'll try to put the YouTube presentation up there. The first one, how to build the Linux server, is about 50 minutes long. You can look at it and figure that out for those that wish to do it. And also the router version, now that can be built on a Windows platform because you are getting it from the router. And there are two ways of doing that. One is to use a server like one we're talking about here, and also to use a server, a VPN service. We'll talk also about that. And before we do anything else here, the current Linux kernel is 4.12.4. Now that is the stable one out there, and on what they call the long-term kernel is 4.9.40. I believe we're using 4.9.39 is the latest one we're using, and we still use Slackware. Now, for the presentation purpose on the server, you can use any version of Linux that you wish. We'd be using Slackware, but definitely make sure that you have the latest kernel and the latest OpenVPN. That will come in various distributions, whether it be Slackware, Ubuntu, etc. You'll be able to upgrade to that, and then, of course, apply it. Now, there are some technical things involved here, and they'll talk about it in the video. But our old friend Chains will return to visit us once again. For those that have been around the Linux kernel, understand what Chains is. It is the firewall, and we'll have a revision to this because when the people made the presentation, they used the technology at the time, and the technology is always changing. So we'll have some commentary in this report. We'll set it up firstly with why we did this, and then we'll go to Edward Snowden and his comments because he lives in the Russian Federation. But nonetheless, This is from ZDNet. As I said, the president of the Russian Federation signed a law prohibiting the use of technology that provides access to websites banned in the country. The law signed on Sunday is already approved by the Duma. That's the lower house of the parliament. It will come into effect on the 1st of November of this year. It bans the use of virtual private networks, VPNs, and other technology known as anonymizers now that allow people to surf the web anonymously. The move follows a decision by Apple over the weekend to pull VPNs now from their app store in China. Now, that is a different way of doing this, and you can obviously use those methods here in the U.S. and in various other countries. And one important thing to note, anytime any technology is banned like VPNs, there will always be a workaround, so stay tuned on that. China has long operated the world's most sophisticated online censorship mechanism, known as the Great Firewall. Now, much of the technology, some of the technology for the so-called Great Firewall, comes from Silicon Valley. The use of VPN by residents provide a loophole which can be used to circumvent the country's surveillance and blocking list. The popular social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You wouldn't want to exclude DJ Trump from your daily Twitter viewing, for example, are blocked in the country with a pilot free trade zone active in Shanghai in the past that allowed some access to such content, although it's heavily censored. Services including Microsoft's Outlook, Gmail also are banned because, again, in many countries as the Russian Federation, chat people are registered. Beginning last year, China upgraded the Great Firewall and has begun to crack down on use of VPNs within the Middle Kingdom. So, the Chinese government earlier this month ordered state-owned internet service providers, including China Mobile, Unicorn, China Telecom, to completely block access to VPNs by April of next year, 2018. So this is basically about two different countries dealing with VPNs. Now, obviously, VPNs are out there, and there are services to connect to these VPNs, and we advocate also using Tor. Now, Tor, Tor is can come from your browser. Now, there's also VPN gateway implementation implements its. This is described how to, and this is basically the Tor system too. VPN relay servers gated by. Now, this is a different technology here, using soft Ethernet VPN client. You can use a VPN connection easily, comfortably, using where do we have here? Soft Ether VPN client. And now this runs only on Windows. Now we're sort of jumping back and forth here with these various types of VPN. Soft Ether VPN, that is an open source. It's an open source software development project, and it supports SSL, VP, and some other things, Open VPN and SSTP protocols. Now, for the Android users, can choose another method. We're kind of skipping around. We want to just make sure that people understand these, and we'll go to the private ones. Now, this is for Windows-supported VPN products. As we said before, Software Ether VPN. This is the recommended one, and Open VPN and MS. This is for Windows SSTP. Now, for Mac, you have L2 TP / IPsec. That's the recommended one, and OpenVPN. For the iPhone, the same thing, and Android. Now, this is L2TP IPsec. This is a recommended one out there, and we can look at that, and we'll put links to these. Now, let me just finish this up. We've already talked about President Putin and what he's done. As of November the 1st, bans technology which will let you access banned sites, they call them, and we don't have a listing of those. This is in the Russian Federation period. It will curb extremist content there, and now another law President Putin has signed is chat application users identified through phone numbers. That will be on the 1st of January 2018. Facebook and others can't reject the idea if they prefer to give you some kind of anonymity. Now, Facebook uses what is called two-factor security, and so does Twitter. They encourage you to use, I should say, two-factor security. What that means is they will ask you for your telephone number in the U.S. and wherever else. Now, from the telephone number, they can trace you, and that is something to be remembered here in the States. If you give your telephone number to Facebook, Twitter, or any other application on the Internet, they have you. And we'll flip in a minute to talk about the private services. One of the drawbacks on these various private VPN services is you are paying with a credit card. Now, you can use some sort of temporary credit card if you pay by the year, and that would be the only feasible way of doing it, period. I didn't want to get into that. Looking at it from Forbes, looking at it from several different standpoints here, and this is literally going back to old school stuff. On the Internet, this is Forbes they're quoting from, and I didn't know they were still in business, something called Radio Free Europe first reported it. It was signed on the 29th of June, published on the 30th of June, these VPNs. Incidentally, in the U.S., VPNs are quite common, that people use VPNs, a tunneling technology, to communicate from their computers to their offices, whether it be corporate or whatever, and also these various devices are used when working at the Starbucks of the world and various other things, period. Now, we touch on such sensitive topics here as neutral Internet. The U.S. workers stand to lose trillions. Now, the legal challenge is an attempt, let me get this here, to control online conversations, make sure that the powers that be go unchallenged. A key movement from the country banning technologies, of course, like VPNs. This is in Putin's situation, but according to Leonid Levin, head of the Russian lower house, that's the Duma, said is not seeking to impose restrictions on law-abiding citizens, but only to block access to unlawful content. Now, this is how they define unlawful content. Now, in the U.S., you'll have this unlawful content such as movies, books. So, in other words, you have very similar situations going on, and period. And these kinds of things are out here, and there are similarities. They do it a little bit different in, say, the U.S. as in other European countries. Britain also has some laws blocking access to the Internet. That's why we support net neutrality here, and we campaign openly as part of the open source movement, Ubuntu if you want to call it that, requiring various or how to get around various restrictions that are posed on the net period. So we are seeing these things in different forms in different countries. VPNs, of course, are pulled out of Russia due to new data retention laws. Now, some of these VPNs do not retain their logs. Now, this is one big situation. We'll get into that when we get into the commercial logs here. But let's first go to Edward Snowden and his commentary. We had been looking at Edward Snowden and what he has to say about it, and he has in the past talked about effectively, he says it makes the Russian Federation less safe and less free. Now, he is a resident there in the Russian Federation. This is the same law we were talking about, and also it would apply to the Chinese law. He called the decision a tragedy of policy that would make Russia both less safe, less free. He linked the government's move to China's crackdown on VPNs. We talked about that, and we got that first on his Twitter feed. Snowden these days is the president of the Freedom of the Press Foundation, and in line with his 2013 decision to expose the NSA's mass surveillance activities. He has long been an advocate of individuals being able to protect their communication online activities. However, he'd previously warned against people relying too much on VPNs because their operators may be vulnerable to hackers or subpoenas that could expose the users. Now, this is back to those credit cards and what have you. They also would have your actual IP address. So we advocate setting up home-based Linux servers that will eliminate some of that, so you not have to deal with that. And this is from his Twitter feed here. VPNs are good, but their weakness is a single point of failure. Hacks are subpoenas at one point to see another, and this is a very, very big problem there, and that is something you have to think about. Now, this is Security Kiss, and let me see. OpenVPN. OpenVPN is for you if you are blocked by internet providers or behind a restrictive firewall. You are looking for high security advanced solutions. You need additional features like exclusive tunneling. Now, OpenVPN was started by James Yonad in 2002, so it's been around for about 15 years. Open source development by the Open VPN technologies and Open SSL, that's the encryption method. You need to upgrade that also. And authentication, strong server authentication thanks to certificates. The possibility of man in the middle attacks is significantly reduced. And then we talk about compression here a little bit. Fast LZO compression, that is OpenVPN, also supports adaptive compression. Operating port flexibility. Open VPNs may send encrypted packets via TCP or UDP and any port to bypass trawling or firewall, so you can set that port up. Cross-platform compatibility comes from common code base, which is good for compatibility. However, with more complexity and dynamic development to compatibility, bugs are invincible, no doubt about that. Firewalls, OpenVPNs may work on any port, both TCP and UDP. For the same reason as above, it is much more difficult to block VPN connections but it is feasible to do that. So speed is one of the big problems. You're going to have that with Tor and others. Your speed will slow down. Some of these commercial services we'll get to. Lastly, an open VPN can set up is quite complex because it has many options, and that will be in the video. They will talk about some of those open security kits you are getting ready to use the program, and that is the idea of this. And we'll link this particular situation here. And this is the Open Security KISS application. And we won't get into the other because it's been discontinued. However, let's get to some of these now. They recommend the ones that are based in Sweden, and this is a list of them, the top 10, they call it, for 2017. And they start out with ExpressVPN, and over 4,000 people have picked ExpressVPN today, and it has a 9.8 rating here with the people that are here, and we'll have this link. NordVPN, that is one that is recommended by many people. VPN, let's see what's next here. VPN Vanish. I don't know about it, but it's next. Hide My Ass. I've used that one before. It's been around a long time. Let me just briefly here talk a little bit about. It has 24/7 service support. That's the first one, ExpressVPN. And somewhere here listed, the next one here, VP Vanish, connect to 60 plus countries, and somewhere there's a listing of the servers that they actually have. And another one out here, Pure VPN, connect to 144 countries there, and several others. Cyber Ghosts, it's 29 countries, fewer and there as far as to the countries that the way that these are scored. And somewhere here, let me just go to a different screen, but we have some of the layouts here on this. We got Edward Snowden out of the way, yeah. Okay. And Apple's removal. We need to do that. This is the private tunnels VPN offers simple, reliable VPN. This is for mobile access here. Private tunnel, you can turn to applications like Private Tunnel VPN. This service is a spin-off of Open VPN, so you understand the VPN, the technology. Private Tunnel VPN does things a bit differently. It's available on Android, ISO, and Windows and Mac. It's free. You can sign up for it. But the trick is that they sell the data. Now, for $10 US, you get 20 gigs of data. For $19 100, and for $29, $29.99, an old sales pitch there, unlimited data there, and you can install it from the, this is the application removed by China, from the Google Play Store. Search for private tunnels and you will get it. Let me see. The best services, this is from CNET. Now, this explains which one. IP Vanished is one of theirs, a 4.4 to 5. Number of IP addresses, 40,000 plus. Number of servers, 700. This will answer some of H's questions of what is actually going on here. We're not doing this broadcast, incidentally, on a VPN. The number of server locations, 60. Now, say, for instance, if you build this Linux server we're talking about, you'd have one location. And it will cost you $750 a month or $58.95 a year. There, so we wait to companies' points for VidCom support, their money back guarantee. I'm not sure what you do there. And the next one is Nordic VP. We recommend it also. It has 2,000 IP addresses, not as many, but 736 servers, a number of server locations, 58. The absolute content is 1 point above the two others. Nordic VPN is firing on all cylinders, so we deducted only a few points from the perfect score. So there's roughly about $70 a year for it. Now, ExpressVPN came in third here. They have 1,000 plus servers and a number of server locations, 145. They don't say how many IP addresses they have. And Golden Frog VPN service, they have 200,000 plus IP addresses, 700 plus servers, and number of locations 70. So I'm not sure where the Golden Frog is located, but Hide My Ass has been around for a very long time. They have 44,000 VPN addresses. We've used them before. And the number of servers, 800, and server locations, fewer than 20. The firm has a strong network with good selection of protocol support, while they have an extensive and very clearly written set of policy documents. The company explicitly allows P2P and torrents. So if you're doing torrents, you want to find Hide My Ass. And let's see, their plan, the highest level is $11 a month, roughly $80 a year, $78.66. They're more expensive. They used to be, I think, about $30 a year. Private internet access, that's the number one there. They have their number of servers, 3,252, locations 37. But they're cheap. $40 a year or $6 a month. These folks have been around since 2010, and they don't log anything. Now, that's very important to find out if, in fact, they log something, period. And Pure VIP, that's another one there. They have 95,000 IP addresses, 500 servers, and 180 locations. These are three of the non-technical reasons the company gets their 4.5. We think they easily deserve it. They do log connection information, although kiddos, for their clarity, and explain exactly what they do and don't log. Now, they do logging. Anyone that does logging, I'd stay away from. We like Pure. Has both Chromebook solutions right out the web page and Kodu. Now, TourGuard, that's a number there. Even though the company doesn't release the number of IP addresses, TourGuard earns a full of 5. TourGuard, I'm sorry, why did I say TourGuard? TourGuard keeps no logs whatsoever. They have a full suite of protocol support, so no matter what you want, you can get it. TourGuard offers a 7-day return policy if you don't like it. Costs you $10 a month, or $9.99, $60 a year. There, so that is one you'd want to look at. They have a number of servers, 50 of server locations. So they're in roughly 50 different places, and they have 1,600 servers. They don't say how many of those they have, but they have a lot of them out there. And let me see, is anything else here? Well, we talked about hotspots. Site to site, well, okay, mobile VPNs, a traditional VPN, can affect the user's experience when applied to a wireless device. It's best to use a mobile VPN to avoid slow speeds, data loss. Mobile VPNs offer you a higher level of security for the challenges of wireless communications. And it goes on to who needs a VPN, how to choose a VPN. Vast range, obviously, VPN servers out there. Some are free, but the best ones require a monthly subscription. VPNs aren't too pricey, but they are very vendor to vendor. We talked about that. Select the reliability, no doubt about that. High security and effective VPN will have the following security features. And we hadn't talked about this yet. 128-bit encryption, and anonymous DPS servers and absence of connection logs. Now, with the one that is featured on YouTube, they'll use 256 encryption. That's the highest one there. Now, as far as bandwidth, well, the faster you go, the more it will cost you. Support for applications like Android and your iOS devices there. Using VPN for Netflix and other forbidden treasures. Online services like Netflix, Hula have been making it difficult for foreign users, and you can get around this by using a VPN. So this is CNET forums. Some of the things that are going on here. We'll link this one. So we'll have a lot of links, I suppose, on this program. But this is David Gewertz of Internet Services. And this article was on the 11th of July, 2017. We try to stay as current as we can when we're reporting. So this is fairly current, just a few weeks ago. In our opinion, the top sites, depending on where you want to go, IPVanish, I don't know as much about them, but Nordic VPN has been recommended by a number of people, and I believe they don't do logging. Out there, let's see, with 6 simultaneous connections through their network, where everyone else offers, 5 or fewer. So you get some pluses with it. $70, so it's about the same price as VP Vanish. In other words, that's the VP address. That is your internet address there. Vanish is out. They also pick up points for their connection kill switch, a must for anyone serious about all these things that come in the server you will be building. Those items come automatically. So we'll link this particular one there. And something called Proton Mail. This came up here, is available and officially out of beta. Proton VPN is now available, and from the Proton Technologies. New virtual private network has taken over year to year to develop. Dreams of CERT and MIT scientists who, this is encrypted email here. And it will. This was written on June the 20th by Christy Osborne. Nonetheless, most to sign in,
most most VPNs require you to sign up, for a paid subscription, monthly basis. They offer usually free trials, and data caps obviously on that. The U.S. rules implemented in from former President Obama were rolled back last year. In UK, first time we mentioned them, is continuing her crusade for wider online. That's the Tory Prime Minister May in the UK, putting her in direct collision. With of course with the EU, which wants to legally enforce end-to-end encryption. Proton Mail has taken a swipe at Google and Facebook, claiming these firms have used your privacy to sell advertising. No doubt about that. Claims that Proton Mail is committed to building and operating a Proton VPN with the same level of transparency if it comes to characterize Proton Mail. I haven't used Proton Mail before, so I don't know. But anyway, the team also needs to offer a free VPN service for the same reason so many others do. If a user is able to test it, maybe they don't have a test site here. Anyway, threw it in. We won't link to it, but Australian ISPs to block piracy sites. Yeah, so in other words, we're having this country to country. There's not anything new there. And heed Edward Snowden's warning and be very, very careful indeed as to what you are doing on the net. And let me just see. Wait a minute here. Google's new program to track shoppers sparks a federal privacy complaint. Now, prominent privacy rights watchdog asking the Federal Communications Agency to investigate Google's new advertising program. This is the Electronic Privacy Information Center to be filed with the FTC. Alleges that Google's newly gained access to troves of highly sensitive information, the credit card and debit card purchase records of a majority of U.S. consumers, without revealing how they got the information. They're through information brokers, I can tell you that, are giving consumers meaningful ways to opt out. Moreover, the group claims that the search giant is relying on secretive technical methods to protect the data, a method that should be audited by outsiders and is likely vulnerable to hacks and other data breaches. Google is seeking to extend its dominance from the online world to the real world, offline world, and the FTC needs to look into it. That's probably a fat chance on the present administration. The Washington Post detailed Google's program, store sales management in May. Executives have hailed it as a revolutionary breakthrough in advertisers' ability to track customers' behavior. The company says that for the first time it would be able to provide with a high degree of confidence that the click online ad leads to a purchase at the cash register, the physical store. Google has said it obtained the information to access, the credit card data, debit card records of 70% of U.S. Consumers. It's been developed a mathematical formula that would anonymize and encrypt the transaction data, then automatically match the data to millions of U.S. users of Google and Google-owned services such as Gmail Search, YouTube, Maps. This approach prevents Google from accessing credit card and data for individuals. Now, they're not doing it individually. They are doing it collectively. The privacy organization is asking the government not to take Google's word for it and to review the algorithms itself. And the organization says, this is the Privacy Foundation,
mathematical technique that store sales measurement is based on CryptoDB. That's data known has a known security flaw. The researchers hacked into CryptDB protected healthcare database in 2015, assuming they perhaps have upgraded this. The privacy group alleges if consumers don't know how Google gets its purchase data, then they cannot make an informed decision, no doubt. Google told the Post it does not have access to names or other personal information of the credit card data users. It does not share the information about individual users with partners. We bet. Advertisers receive aggregated information. For example, an ad campaign for sneakers that received 10,000 clicks. The advertiser learns 12% of the clicks make a purchase. Users can opt out anytime on a My Activity page. We've been there before. I'm not sure how acting out we go. But anyway, this is an article here by Elizabeth Donsky and Craig Timberg on the 30th of July. So it is up to date, no doubt about it. To sum all this up, in many countries, the threat, obviously, to privacy and to what is known as freedom of the net is governmental control. Mentioned here, of course, obviously, is China and the Russian Federation. But remember, the NSA in the U.S. is the largest violator of these types of things. And also in the U.S., the greatest threat is, in fact, the commercial sector. We see the Facebooks of the world, the Googles of the world, the Twitters of the world, all these social media things. They're all analyzing the data, what they call metadata. They're all analyzing this. The NSA is analyzing it. So in other words, you're in for a world of analyzation. And the algorithms are running 24/7 as we talk. So Mr. Snowden is correct. These particular products are not as reliable as you would think they are. So you can use Tor. It's a peer-to-peer operation. Is fairly secure. Now, Open VPN. I would suggest that if you have an old Linux box around, that you set one up. And if you have the Asus router, you can then use it. Now, you will not have as many locations, but you will be able to hide your IP address securely. So that is the idea of this particular cast. Now, we'll have some revisions to this from time to time on the open source report as we move, as they say, merrily along here with this. And let me look here one more time. We had the YouTube, and hopefully we still have it. I will have to go out and find it once again. But we had the... now the building the Linux server. This is the Open VPN from scratch. This is from K5, this group of people here, and I'll give them credit for this. And let me just see if we a minute here. Hack Shop 5 is these people, and they're let me just move along here. Some editing will kill some of this, but these are items here anyway that they sell. All sites sell something. But we to like them. let's see what else. We'll have to get... we were looking here for the actual configuration, but we'll get this for you and find out someone that set up an Open VPN server. Now on Raspberry Pi for my home network, and it works. Now you can do this on Raspberry Pi. You can pick that up for a quote-unquote song. Let me just let you hear just a little bit of this.
Long, trusting relationship. This needs to be mutual as well. I'm going to give you my public key. I don't
know how I feel about this.
Public key in exchange.
You can keep your keys.
All right. Well, the server at least.
How about just for this segment? I'll share keys just for this segment.
Yeah. So we need to generate those keys, right? We need to actually create a certificate of authority. We need to generate some keys.
Okay.
And then we need to exchange them so that all of this can happen securely.
Yeah.
And we've, by the way, if this is all new to you, we've done ad nauseum awesome segments on public key infrastructure. If you would like to learn more about those, check out these fine episodes on the YouTubes. And yes, thank you. So, Easy RSA. Remember that package from earlier?
I do.
Yes, it makes setting up RSA keys
easy.
Right? So, in fact, there's already samples and everything. So let's go ahead and dive into that.
Okay.
So you'll find if I go to /USR share /easy RSA.
But that's the certificates, and you get certificates. And when you go to this channel, incidentally, as part of it, you'll see to make a VPN server with the Raspberry Pi. That's Open VPN. So you can do this a number of ways. If you have a Linux box around, good. If you don't, you can use the Raspberry Pi. There are a number of ways of doing this, but this is what we suggest to do. And also, we touched upon the use of the Windows setup for the VPN via the ASUS router. There's a program to do that, and we'll get that up also, so you can have that if you wish. Anyway, this will do it for this open source report, and we'll also append this report to our Boston Red segment coming up here later. It is titled The Scoutmaster. Anyway, about the various machinations of DJ Trump and the Boy Scouts. This is M.A. at Cranston, and have a good week, everyone. We'll be back in 2 or 3 days with the rest of the open source report. We can move back to some of the other things going on in open source. Have a good day.